night I laid my eyes on you. Felt everything around me move. Got nervous when you looked my way, but you know all the words to say. Then your love slowly moved right in. All this time, all my love, where you been? I'm more, don't you know? My love, I want you so. Sugar, you make my soul complete. The rapture tastes so sweet. I'm mesmerized in every way. You keep me in a state of daze. Your kisses make my skin feel weak.
We can't manage
I'm always melting in your heat. Then I soar like a bird in the wind. Oh, I glide as I'm flying through heaven. I'm more, don't you know? My love, I want you so. Sugar, you make my soul complete. The rapture tastes so sweet. La 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 la
I'm tucked in by my melancholic dream, and just like that I am carried by the wind, flying to where the magic fairies sing. Don't wake me up till it's over. I love when you sing to me, calm me down with your symphony. I love when you sing to me, all things bad, just a distant memory. The sky was dark, now it's lit up by the stars, and just like that I am back into your arms. When I'm up here, we will never be apart. Don't wake me up till it's over. I love when you sing to me, calm me down with your symphony. I love when you sing to me, all things bad, just a distant memory. Just a distant memory. It's the distant
Am I even human? I'm blurry-eyed, but don't think I'm feeling it. No sleep tonight, I'm under flashing lights. I'm blinded by the smoke that I'm breathing in. I'm hypnotized, maybe I'm not alright. But I'm not here to wish that I was sober. Think I found a way to leave my world outside. Feels so good to lose all of my focus. My focus. I just wanna shut my eyes. Feel easier. Amnesia for one night. Looking for my peace of mind. Feel easier. With amnesia for one night. I just wanna shut my eyes. Feel easier. Amnesia for one night. Looking for my peace of mind. Feel easier. With amnesia for one night. I'm in and out of internal paradise, my happy place to go, where I don't feel alone. I've taken something to make me feel alive. Now I can't describe why everything's so real. But I'm not here to wish that I was sober. Think I found a way to leave my world outside. Feels so good to lose all of my focus. My focus. I just wanna shut my eyes. Feel easier. Amnesia for one night. Looking for my peace of mind. Feel easier. With amnesia for one night. I just wanna shut my eyes. Feel easier. Amnesia for one night. Looking for my peace of mind. Feel easier. With amnesia for one night. I just wanna shut my eyes. Feel easier. Amnesia for one night. Looking for my peace of mind. Feel easier. With amnesia for one night.
We don't speak, have we given it up, have we given it up? Called your name, but it's never enough, no, it's never enough. We used to dance like they do in the movies. We used to scream and shout it out loud. And now I feel like something is missing out. Up above and down below, every step that I take leads me back to you. I can hear the angels sing. Every step that I take leads me back to you. Every step that I take leads me back to you.
Trial version.
Every step that I take leads me back to you.
Trial version. Trial version.
Every step that I take leads me back to you.
Tri-
My, oh my, take a look at us now, take a look at us now. Now I see, I don't have any doubts, I don't have any doubts. We used to dance like they do in the movies. We used to scream and shout it out loud. And now I feel like something is missing out. Up above and down below, every step that I take leads me back to you. I can hear the angels sing. Every step that I take leads me back to you. Every step that I take leads me back to you. I can hear the angels sing. Every step that I take leads me back to you. Every step that I take leads me back to you. One more up and down below. Every step that I take leads me back to you. I can hear the angels sing. Every step that I take leads me back to you. Ignegi access to VIP. Oh, wanna say kanya my flesh we nana. Oh, nothing is like. Say nothing chola ne krupi. Ah, ukuna backbone no nami. Nyala. Say nothing chola ne krupi. Ah, ukuna backbone no nami. Nyala. Izinja zempilo ma. Umuto titi, otiti. Ah, wama elista. Ufunu kala na ma elista. Relax, amuso penika. Sama yo mudi. Ah, wama elista. Ufunu kala na ma elista. Relax, amuso penika. Sama yo mudi. Ah, ufuna backbone no nami. Nyala. Sengating chola ne krupi. Ah, ufuna backbone no nami. Nyala. Izinja zempilo ma. Umuto titi, otiti. Angas minang zoitin lindaba. Angas minang zoitin lindaba. Iamano hotela, Iamano hotela. I'm a superstar, oh pastel. Yeah. I'm waiting, I'm a neto hotel. Yeah, I'm a noto hotel. I'm a superstar, oh pastel. I'm asking and zoitin linda. I'm asking and zoitin linda. Isn't just empilo, ma. Relax, I'm so penica. Sama yo moody, sama yo moody. I'm a Elisa. Ufuna khala na ma Elisa. Relax, I'm so penica. Sama yo moody, sama yo moody. Angas minanzoitin lindaba.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Power Thursdays with Someleze, Lebo, and Sibanisezwe. Today we'll be doing components in PowerApps, and I don't know if Someleze is already here.
Oh, I'm here.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Letho?
I'm good. And how are the other guys doing? See, they're also here now.
Yeah. Guys,
Oh, they quiet.
shy. They're still
Oh,
shy.
sorry guys. I'm on mute.
Trial version.
Okay. So what are you guys going to be doing for us today in
Trial
detail?
version.
Who's on trial version or something?
Trial version.
I'm
It's
not
me.
sure.
Probably.
Trial version.
Who is that?
Trial version.
I think it's Lebo.
Lebo, can you mute your mic for now?
Trial version.
Okay. Well, today is not really that much. We're not doing that much of stuff, but we want to show you guys something that we think is very important in app building. Usually, whenever you see apps that are created out there, you normally see that certain aspects or certain in that app are occurring on every single screen. So with Power Apps, with components in Power Apps, it actually leverages and helps us whenever you have, like, when you're creating an app and you have a lot of screens on your application. Normally you have what can I call it, like that bar that's at the top. So when you're looking at the bar that's at the top, you'll be like, oh, okay, for this screen, I'm gonna put this, which maybe it'll say Someleze, and then my picture, or it displays that message. So now you want that bar to show, or that control to show on every single screen. So
Yeah.
with with components in Power Apps, right? We use those components to actually help us and leverage that problem, in which we use components to create that bar, for an example, or to create that control and have it as one control. So whenever you need to change, something on your application, you have to change it once. So now if you have that bar and you're saying, okay, I'm going to create for every single screen, I'm going to be adding this bar on every single screen. Let's say you have like 20 screens, and now there's something that you need to change, or your application changes, and maybe you're working somewhere and then you need to make updates to the application. Now you need to change that control. So now you'd have to do it for every single screen if you have 20 screens. Whereas whenever you're using components in Power Apps, it actually allows you to create it once and then use its occurrence or its instance on every single screen. So you just call the name of the component on every single screen that you wanna add it on, and then whenever you wanna change something on that component, you just go to the component itself, you change it once, and then it will change for every single screen. So I have Lebo and Sibani who are going to speak and show us how it actually works and how we use components in Power Apps. Today, I'm not going to be babbling on. As much as I've been giving you theory today, we have the two Power Ninjas that are gonna show us how it actually works, and I really can't wait to learn from them. Hopefully, you're also excited, Letho. You're on mute.
Sorry, I forgot I muted myself. I'm always excited to learn about Power Apps. I'm very, very excited for this.
Yeah. So, guys, you guys
Okay,
can
you
take
can
it.
talk.
Can you hear me, guys?
Trial version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Alright,
also
cool.
trial version.
Why am I on trial version?
Trial
Actually?
version.
I have a lot of questions, but that's fine.
What app? What
Trial
app are
version.
you have open?
I just have I'm on
Trial
I'm using
version.
Microsoft Edge. I'm using what is this platform called? StreamYard, and that's just it. You know.
Trial version.
Did you log in on StreamYard or did you just use the link?
Trial version.
I use the link. Why?
Um,
Trial version.
because I thought that it's the thing.
Trial
Thought you
version.
you log in and it'll actually say you're using the trial version of StreamYard.
Seriously? Okay. Okay. Cool. I had
Trial
no
version.
idea.
I'm not sure though.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Trial version. Trial
Can you still
version.
hear anything?
Yeah, we can. It still says trial version.
No worries.
Trial version.
Let me just.
Trial version. Trial version. Trial version.
I will still hear the trial version.
Trial version. Trial version.
Are you doing anything about it? Oh, he left. So, well, okay. Svani, do you wanna take it away and then Lebo can come and actually do his part?
I'm muted. I'm muted. I'm here, bro. I'm here.
Oh, okay. You can
I don't know.
you can away and then we can let to Lebo. Whoa, Lebo take it away after you.
Okay, no, thank you, guys. But the session was planned in a way that Lego's gonna go first, then I was gonna continue, cause he planned something else. Seems like he's back.
Is
Lego,
everything fixed now on Lebo's side?
Let's
seems
hear
like
from him. Yeah, it's quiet now.
Trial
There's no.
version.
Oh
Oh,
no.
still there.
Trial version.
Wait, can Lebo also hear the trial version thing?
Trial
I
version.
think I think so.
Okay.
Trial version.
Anyways, Lebo, can you carry on?
Trial version.
Oh, okay. So let me just quickly share my
Trial
screen.
version.
Um, Hopefully, I don't overtake stuff unless Lebo will come in again. So let me share my screen and then we can just take it away for today.
Okay, no
Cool.
problem.
So you guys will let me know when you see my screen, and yeah,
Cool.
hope. Let's technology. So you guys see my screen, right?
It's
Yeah, we can.
yes.
Okay. So what we want to do today is components, right? Components in Power Apps. And when we talk about components in Power Apps, as I was explaining, it's more about the consistency in your application. Whenever you create an app and you want certain stuff to be appearing on every single screen that you're gonna have on your application, right? So I will try and show you guys how to use components in Power Apps. It's not that much. It's just a small thing. Probably will be done in a few minutes. Just a small thing, and you guys are gonna see. So we usually and normally we
Trial
use
version.
Canvas app. I'm going to create a Canvas app from blank, in
Trial
which
version.
I am not gonna use the
Trial
phone
version.
format, in which there's not much difference. But today, because I want to show you the components and how they actually work and how nice it makes your app look like, I'm going to use the tablet format. But it's up to you whether you want to use it on a phone format, or it's up to you if you want to use it on a tablet format, right? So I'm gonna quickly give this app name. I'm just gonna name it Lebo app, so that he can get over the trial version thing that's happening at the background. And then I will create it. So while we wait, I was mentioning before, is that components allow you to be able to change one aspect. Whenever you're changing one aspect on your application, it allows you to change almost on every single that component, right? So I'm going to skip this. So as you can see, let me quickly zoom in. As you can see, our screen has nothing, right? There's literal nothing, and we want to show you components. So I'm going to quickly go to components on the right, on the left hand side of your screen. There's screens, and you also have components, and then you can see that you have screens. And then if you click on components, usually before this, components was in preview mode, in which it wasn't really available for you to use on your apps that you're going to publish to your users. But now you can see that components is included in the Power App Studio, and you can be able to use it and create your components and use them on apps that can be used by people. So it makes it much more easier, because when we were preparing for this, we saw that at some point when they were doing components, they had to do a lot of stuff before they can actually add a component onto Power Apps. But now it's much more easier. So let me stop gibbering and then talk about components. So obviously, if you click on components, it will ask you to add a new component, because I do not have a component on my app or on my Power App Studio currently. So I'm going to add a component. This normally speaks to the design aspect of your application, right? Let me zoom in so that you guys can see. It speaks to the design aspect of your application, not really those functionality stuff that we've been showing you the past few weeks, in where you were seeing formulas, and you were seeing other stuff where you can be able to filter your information or your data. But this one is much more important, because, like I mentioned before, you want to have consistency in your application. And I know when I was still in varsity, they would teach us, whenever you create an application or web app or a mobile application, they would tell you that your application needs to be consistent. And I know you guys wouldn't use an application where, when you see this screen, there's something different with this screen, and then you go to another screen, there's another different thing, and it's like a new application. There's not speak it does not speak to how it actually is supposed to be and what you're used to. So to add a component, my component is much more speaking to it's much more speaking to the bar that we'd have at the top of our applications in which you saw before our sessions. So I am going to quickly go to the properties for the component and try to resize it. And then when I am resizing that component, I am going to make it 1360 or 1300 width, and then make it the height to be 100, because I want it to be able to fit into our application or to our format, right? So now we have it as that size because we're using the tablet format. And when we're using the tablet format, this is how it usually would look like at the top. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to insert an element, right? I'm going to insert an element. That element will be an icon in which it will be a rectangle so that it can actually look nice. Because as I said before, we are creating a bar, something that looks like a bar at the top of our applications. I don't know how to explain this properly, but you've seen this in these applications that you've used where you looked at Uber Eats, maybe you looked at Mac Delivery, and they have at the top that bar that has the color of Uber Eats, or it has the color of Mac Delivery and stuff. So I'm looking for a rectangle, right? I'm going to grab that and add it to our component. And then on the component, instead of dragging this whole thing, I'm just going to resize it here and say its width would be the same as our component size, right? Which is, it was 1360. Right. Okay, so Melissa is just doing something that is normal and basic, and we all can do it. Yes, that is true, but it is one of the most important stuff. And you will see the magic that comes into this, right? Is there someone who wants to say something before I?
Yes, actually, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
So since you've added your component and now you're adding the blue color, why will there be a difference if I just extended it without, sizing it according to width and the height? Or that's just easier and neater?
Because
It's
you've
much
got
more easier. It's much more easier and faster to just resize it using the properties on the properties tab of your icon or of your rectangle, since I added a rectangle on top of the component. But you can
Okay.
drag it, right? But if you're dragging the width of the rectangle, you're allowed to drag the width of the rectangle so that it can match the size of the component. But you cannot resize the height of the rectangle above 100, since my height of the component is made into being 100, right? So
Okay.
you can't go over the size of the component, but you can be in between the size of the component, if I'm clear.
Okay. So is it the same with the width? Like you can't go over the size
Yes.
1360? Okay.
Yes, you can't. It depends on if you have your component size already set, like for an example, if I quickly click on the component, right, which is component one, if I resize my component to be 1400, and then that is when I'll be able to increase the size or the width of the rectangle as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we have a rectangle. It looks like this, but really we need the important information for our rectangle and for our bar. So what do? I need to add something that is very important. So whenever you're using apps, you usually would see, I'm going to add another icon. We usually would see the ability to go back to a different screen or to go back to the screen that you were introduced to when you're running the application. So I'm going to add an icon that will allow me to head back, that's the one, which is back, right? And then I'm just going to drag it here and I put it here, right? It'll stay there. And then I need to add an image to show, maybe for me personally, I want to show the Inspire SA logo, right? So I am going to do that. I'm going to add an image. So I'm going to insert and then go to media. Mind you, whenever I'm adding an image here, I'm not adding an image based on the camera, but I'm using the image control, not the camera control. The camera control does a quite slightly different function than the image. The image control just displays the image, as the camera control allows you to take a picture using your device and then shows you the picture that you took. So here we're going to use the image control. And then I can drag this image on top of my rectangle because I want it to be on top of the rectangle and the component so that they can be inside of each other, right? And then I will just resize it like this. And I'll go to the properties of the image. Currently, if you're looking at it, it is not showing anything. Let me see if I can zoom in. It's not showing anything, right? So it isn't showing anything. So I want to show the Inspire SA logo. What I'll do is I'll go to the properties of the image, which is on the right-hand side of my screen, and then I'll quickly click on image, and then it's set to none for now. So I will click on add image file, and then that will allow me to upload an image from my computer or from my laptop. So I have this because I downloaded it today. So I have this, and then I'll say open, right? So when I have it and it's opened, the image is uploaded onto PowerApps Studio, and it's also showing on the progress bar. But it shows, and it's quite small. So we have to change the image position, or we have to resize the image to show properly. So again, go back to the properties image, and then change the image position from fit to fill, right? Now, if you have it as fill, it'll actually show the entire image. So let me resize it so that it can look proper. Yeah. So now it looks proper. So usually you'd see this in applications and that you're using on your day-to-day life or day-to-day experience, and you'd see that they show the logo and also they show the back button and other stuff. And I'm just going to add almost something that's similar for another thing to have the feel of, okay, now I know who's logged in, or this is me who's logged in, and it has to show the image, my profile or my profile picture. Usually whenever Facebook has that, you can see on Facebook that if you go on profile or if you go on certain pages, it shows your profile picture or it shows your display image. So why can't we do that on Power Apps? We can. So let's do that, right? Now this, as I am dragging that image that I also added again, as I'm dragging that, this speaks to something we spoke about last week, in which it's a function, if I may say, a function that stores information about the currently logged in user. So you use a function called user. So user stores your your image, it stores your full name, and also it stores your email. So currently now what we're looking for, if I change the image property of the image from sample image or from none to the image from the currently logged in user, I would say user, right? And then you shouldn't forget your brackets. And you say user, and then you say dot. So that dot, as I have explained before I get questioned again, that dot allows us to access properties that are within that function, if I can say, because today we're not talking about a data source, but we're talking about that small function called user. So it allows us to access the properties stored within user, and user has image, email, and full name that is stored within it. So that would be the currently logged in user. So I'm looking for the image currently, and it'll probably show my image if I have one. Oh, there it is. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it'll show my image. There it is, there.
Yeah,
And
I can
then,
see.
and then without making it look more nice, and because I'm gonna waste time and I'll get carried away, I will add another text. I will add another control, which is text, to show welcome Someleze or welcome that user that's logged in. So I'm going to add a label, and my label is here. So I have to drag it to the side. Wait, sorry. Then I just dragged it, and quickly I have to change the width of it and the height so that I can have a bigger and bolder text that's showing. So I will make the height to be 80, if that's fine. Yeah, that is fine. And then on the text, the default text that's shown on text, or the text control, is text in which it is in inverted commas. So how do we show welcome Someleze without us usually normally developers use the term hard coding, or us just putting it in there because we'd have different users for the application. So I'm going to quickly write welcome, and then I use the and ampersand. So when you say and in Power Apps and you use that and, it allows you to combine. I don't want to use the word concatenate because developers only know that. So it allows you to combine in Power Apps. It allows you to combine strings to put it in much more simpler terms. Instead of using the plus sign developers, we use the and sign in Power Apps. So if I say welcome, and now I want to show the name of the currently logged in user. So I will use user again, the user function, and I'll say user dot full name, because I want to show my name and I love myself that much, right? So as you can see, because it's black, I would quickly change it to white. I'm not being racist. I'm just changing the color. Change it to white, and then I will increase the font size so that it can be. Yeah. And then, because right now, if you look at it, it's like welcome Someleze without, and it doesn't look nice. So for you to have that, just go put a space there, and then it will be awesome. So I'll change it to, yeah, I'll make it bold, and then it will say welcome Someleze, and then I'll add one extra feature, and then it will say welcome Someleze, in which it is something that we've seen in applications. But that is not the full extent of components. As I was explaining earlier on, you can customize your components to look like this if you want to. Let me quickly change that. So while I'm changing the color of that, I want to say this. Um, you can customize your component to look in any way that you want it to look like, right? And so that whenever you use it on your screens, it looks proper and it looks nice. So I will rename it, and then I will say profile display. Right, display. I don't know what happened. Okay, there it is.
Sorry, Someleze.
Yes.
Some of your Some of your parts are like inaudible. I don't know if I'm the only one who hears that, or is it my network?
You're not the only
I'm
one.
not.
Some of the parts, yeah, they get cut off.
Yeah, you
Which,
get like a little soft.
probably it's my network on my side. Probably I don't know. Which part did you guys before I move on to the to how to use the components?
Well, I kind of figured out some parts because you're just explaining like the little things. It's when you were talking about the strings and the space, and yeah, that was all. It was like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, okay, no, let me just quickly right. So as I was saying, still audible properly. So I said usually when developers use or programmers, if I can say, use or write programs, they would want to concatenate strings. What do we mean in simple terms or in terms that everyone can understand is that programmers would usually want to combine texts, right? Text together. So for us to concatenate or to add text or use in PowerApps, we do not use the plus sign, but we use the ampersand sign, which is the end sign for other people who don't understand what ampersand is. So we use the end sign in which that is the one that I used here. So in which I have the text welcome, and then I said and I want to show a text of my full name or the full name of the currently logged in user. But for me to do that without writing it down and saying welcome Someleze, I want the application to know who is currently logged in and then take their name. Not that in each and every time when a person is using my application, they are seeing welcome Someleze, even though they are not Someleze that is actually using the application. So that is basically it with that. So I can move on from that, right?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so I know I wasted a lot of time creating a component here. So let's go back to screens, right? I have one screen here and it has nothing. So how do we really use components right in screens? So I don't know. Let me just quickly add just screens. I'm gonna add screens, empty screens, like 3 screens to show you how it works, right? So we have 3 screens, right? In which they don't have anything in them. So normally, whenever a person is learning Power Apps or they learning how to create an app, they would come to a Power Apps and be like, "Oh, okay, now I need the top bar or I need the top part of my application to be working properly." So they would go through the same normal process I did whenever I was adding that icon or that rectangle, but they would do it for every single screen, right? But now what happens for them when they need to change something at the top of that bar or on that bar? The biggest problem that people face if they did it that way is that they would have to go through every single screen changing stuff or changing the same thing over and over again. In which now, if you imagine if you have like 100 screens for your application or 20 screens for your application, that won't be feasible because now you are actually going through screen 1 to 20 changing the same thing, in which it's wasting a lot of time, it's wasting a lot of effort that you could be doing something else. So that's where components come in. For you who wants to add that bar, you can only do it in one way in your screens, right? So what you do, you go to insert. So you have your screen, which is I'm on screen 1. You have your screen clicked or selected, and then you go to insert, and then you look for custom, right? When you find custom, you'd find your components there. If you do not have components, it will ask you to create a new one, or you can import components from different applications or export a component that you have. So currently I renamed my component, or I named my component as profile display. So I'm going to click on profile display, right? It will have to have added the profile display. There it is. If I zoom out, it's added onto my screen. And if I try to change anything on it, I can't because it's a component. Everything is all together. Whereas if you had not done or added a component on your screen and you just added a rectangle and added that additional information, you would change it individually. In which sometimes, if things are positioned together and then when you change something, it probably affects another thing on your screen, right? So you do the same process for the second screen, in which I'll add the component again. So if I say profile display, I add it to my second screen. It's still there. So if I quickly run this and it shows at the top, it's like, oh, okay, this is the top bar. It's saying welcome Someleze Digo. So to show how you change stuff on a component or on your screens, instead of going through that very painful way of going through every single screen trying to change something, you can only just go to your component, right? And then I'm just going to make a small change and then I'll hand it over to Sibani. I can change this probably and say you change this. Say you rock. Someleze Digo, you rock. As much as I'm just using it as an example, I can say welcome Someleze Digo, you rock. And then we have to look at our screens, right? We changed it on our component, right? We changed it once. But if we look at our screens that we have, if we go back to our screens and I go to screen 1 and I try to zoom out and I play the application, this is screen 1. It shows welcome Someleze Digo, you rock. And then if I go to my other screen again, which is screen 2, and I play the application, it shows the same changes. So you only have to change something once if you're using components, and then it will change throughout your screens. Whereas if you were not using a component, you'd have to go through every single screen changing the same thing over and over again. So Sibani, I'm about to hand it over to you before I waste any more time. Right?
Well,
So
I
should
have
I?
a question.
Oh, okay. I love questions.
So, um, it's kind of not Power Apps related, but it is. So, are you going to carry on creating this app for us as Inspire SA, or are you just doing a demo?
Well, it's possible that I can create the application for Inspire SA, in which Inspire SA can actually help me with certain stuff in the Power app. But for now, I was just doing it for the demo so that people can see that you can add certain stuff, or you can add even your logos if you're working with someone or working with the company.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. But now I have another question. I'm sorry. I just
Yeah,
want to ask if, with the components, right? You say that it makes life easier when Power Apps
yes.
is already making life easy. So, when you're adding screens, right?
We're losing you,
Everything
Letho.
will change on the screen. And will it only be the top part, or also the other maybe components that you add on the screen? Say you want
So
to add like a a text for name, or like your schedule for hosting and all of that. So will it only change if it's in the components, or will it change even if it's not there? I don't know if you get my question.
So with that, if you have your controls on the screen, like you add a new screen, and just add controls on the screen itself, and then now you want to change stuff, you can only change it on one single screen. Whereas if you created a component that has let's say let's say you created a component that has something that looks like a form.
Yeah.
So if you have it as a component and then now you're just reusing it on your screen, and then if you change it on the component, then it'll change on your screens. But it won't,
Automatically.
yeah, but it won't change if you added it on a single screen. You added
Okay.
controls on it. And also, whenever you're adding a new screen, your component is not automatically added on your screen. You have to edit yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm guessing it's over to Svani now.
Yeah. So I think he's going to use the same app. So then let me take you through the most important part of app making. Once you've created an application in Power Apps, you go to File, and then you click on File. You look for Save. You click on Save or Save As. It'll give you the name of your application. If you're okay with it, you go click on Save at the bottom of the screen, and then it'll save your application. And then if you want people to use this application, or you want people in your organization to use the application, you will have to share it, right? So I have to share it with Spani since he probably is going to use the application. So how to share an application in Power Apps? As much as I've done this before, I think I want to stress it over and over again so that people can know. So it'll take you to the screen once you've clicked on share, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have to name or the email address of that person. So I want Bunny to have this application. So there he is, and I click on it, on his name. Mind you, I want him to edit the application, not to just use it. So I make him co-owner, and then I click on share, right? So when I've clicked on share, everything will be fine, and then Spani will have access to the application, and he'll be able to edit the application. Spani, over to you, my man. I will stop sharing screen.
Chief. Thank you, Chief, for showing this great demo to our users. Hopefully, they are learning something because we're gonna keep adding stuff to whatever we taught before and whatever we have demonstrated before. And I'm so happy today that our Power by lady has finally joined us, and I'm so humbled by that.
I'm just
You know,
hosting. Don't worry.
hopefully, no, no, no. You can't say you're hosting only. You're gonna be there. You're gonna be there until. So, guys, let us continue. I think I now have uh, the access to the app. Let me share my screen so that everyone can be able to see what I'm working on. Uh, okay. Uh, where is my screen? Not this one. Ah, can't find it. Kidding. Allow. Okay, I don't know if my screen is visible.
It's there.
Yeah, it is.
Can someone come? Okay, thank you. Where is the app? Where is the app? And remember, guys, as Someleze said that a component is just the reusability of apps. Like when we code, there is that code in our application that we would like to use throughout the application. So similar to low code and components, it's that part of the application that we want to have throughout the application. Yeah. Tico, don't seem to have access to the app. Can you please reshare it or I should refresh my page? Let me refresh my page. Um, oof, let's hope it doesn't take time to load. Okay. Oh yeah, there I have it. There I have it. Uh, so as Diga said, I'm gonna add just one more component to our app that I'm pretty sure everyone is gonna be simpler, and it will add to what Rico has already said about the apps and about components and power apps. I think people will get more insight on what components really are and how you can use them. I don't know if my network will be stable enough. It's been giving me problems lately, but hopefully the browser will be intact. Okay. Yo, these things take time to load. They take time to load. And I chose to use the Chrome browser today because Firefox was really a pain. Every time I want to use it, it will somehow slow down my network or block me. Oh, did this? Okay, so guys, I'm gonna go with the simple component that I'm gonna add, uh, of which I'm gonna use something to calculate a number in a simple way. Because while I was busy preparing for the show, I kind of saw like if I were to demo the same thing I used to prepare for the show, it will be much easier for people to understand what components really are. Okay, né? So we're gonna add a new component here. So as we adding our component, since now we are not connected to any data, so we're gonna use the dummy data, which I can say it's hard coded data. You know, we can also hard code in Power Apps. So let me rename this and say Inspire Calculator. Calculator. Ah, English, guys, English. Yeah. And then on our component here, we're gonna add we're gonna add a label or text, should I say. We're gonna go to insert. So basically, our focus on on this component is mainly on inputs and outputs. Every time you enter something, and then later on, it should give you back something on the screen. So I'm gonna end my input here. The way I'm gonna add my input, I'm gonna add it as a text input. Now, as you all know, the text input is what we always enter to on screens. But where is this? Mm, in order for it to be recognized as a number or as a decimal, we need to always configure it. Yeah. So in order for us to configure our text input, we're gonna go here to new custom property. Yeah. So we're gonna give it a display name and say entered number. So as you all know that those who code a lot, they have their text input and they give it display names to their application. And here as name, it's like you're having a variable, yeah, that will recognize the entered number. Yeah. So our property type is input. And remember that those who code also, they have data types, decimal, boolean, datetime. So our our data type that you're going to use, it's a number data type. Yeah. And then the number data type, which which is something that is much more simpler to use. Yeah. So as a number data type, raise on resets when value changes. Yeah. So we're gonna create. There we have our text input. Yeah. But now our text input seems like it's not really entered in a way that is user friendly. How do we exactly enter that in a user friendly manner? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on our input and then we're gonna say uh, you entered. Yeah. And remember, Diego said if you want to concatenate, you must use the and sign. So if we use the and sign, we're gonna now call our component name, which is inspire calculator dot. Remember that in our inspire calculator, we had filled in a text input variable, which is entered number. There you go. So people might ask, why are we exactly getting 100? 100 is actually a default value that you are given every time you are testing a number value on Power Platform. Yeah. So this is our component. And remember, if you want to do a calculation, a proper calculation, you need to have a pattern. Yeah. So we'll put in insert our pattern here, and we're gonna put it right over here. I hope everyone is still on track. Then we have gonna have to rename our pattern. So while preparing for this show today, uh, I thought of while watching tutorial and preparing, I thought of okay, what if we were to say our pattern name, let's say times 5. Yeah, that's it. There we have it. And then here, remember, in order for our pattern to actually compute a calculation fully, we need to be able to know what it says. So at first, we can have inspire calculator dot entered number. Yeah.
Spani, sorry to
Yes.
disturb you. Can you please go to the text input?
Okay. Let's go there.
So you see where you were putting the and sign. I noticed that
Yes.
there was a drop down of one and sign and two and signs. So what's the difference between using one and using the two, or is it the same thing? Can you please explain that for us?
Okay. Using the one and sign simply says that I'm only gonna reference only one variable to say. Yeah. So if I use
Mm-hmm.
this one, yeah, as you can see, it turns into false. So the
Mm-hmm.
end means false. Yeah. And the simple end, which is one, that means whatever data is there on the text input is true. It can be used within the app.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yes. So let us go back here. We forget our dots here. That's why it's giving us an error. And then times 5. There you have your calculation. But now, which data are we going to be outputting? In that case, we need to set a variable so that our calculation can be displayed in a new variable. So we're going to say answer, which is a var answer, né? Var answer, comma. Né? There you have it. And then we close our bracket here. So now with this, you can be able to have a full-on calculation. But where are we going to put the calculation? Né? So we're going to go to our screens. Okay, let me use screen 2 purposefully. So in our screen, né, we're going to have to insert a component. Where is insert. Um,
You'll find it on custom if you want to insert a component on your screen.
have to find it on.
Custom. See at the top stuff AI builder. You'll find it
Oh
there.
yeah.
It's custom.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna include our component here on the screen, Let me move it so it look nice. Yeah. So since already here we have a default value which is 100 on our input text, but now I want to make it a bit fancy. Yeah. So I'm gonna also have a control input. Where is this? Controls. Uh, where am I controls? Yeah, notice gallery. Come on. Dico, can you remind me where do I find my controls? Because I need something like a slider. Dico,
You are on the controls yourself. Go to input.
yeah, where is the
Click on
slider
that.
here?
Scroll down.
Oh, yeah, there it is. So I'm gonna add this slider here. So our slider will be used to change the value of our enter text. But now, in order for us to change the value for our enter text, we need to go here and remove this and say slider one dot value. Yeah. With this slider one dot value, that means we want our value to change every time a slider is moved. Let us see if it does change or not. Okay. Okay. Right now it's not changing. Let us fix that. Let us fix that. Yeah.
Svani,
So
just
yes.
to let you know that we have 3 minutes left and some of us have
Three
load
minutes.
shedding.
Okay, no problem. I get you.
Yeah,
Get you.
cool.
Yeah. Oh, you have load shedding at 4. No problem. I will have that done by then. So let us undo a few things here.
Oh, but it
Okay.
seems as if we can continue.
Okay.
Yeah, so we still have time, but
I have to be fast.
take your time. Maybe 5 minutes more.
Okay, no problem. I'll be done by then. So
Cool.
our slider here, our slider dot value. Where is this? So let us not do this here. We have to do it right over here. Right over here. Yes. Right over here, slider. The one dot value. Okay, let us see if it does change the value or not. Let's play the app. Our text app is not changing. Let me fix that. I think here is because of our text input. Now, so let's go to our component to fix our text input. Yeah. Okay. You enter data. That's it. You have that, and then okay. Okay. Uh, Slider one dot value. Uh, okay, that's it. And then we're gonna have to insert a label. So our label should be right here. Then we have that. Okay. is our label, which is text, and then you're gonna say on our label, the app says, yeah, and and generic in, inspire calculator dot, yeah, set. Okay, before we do this, we need to change here and go to advanced so that our output data tells us exactly what we have to do. So we're gonna click here and then we go to advanced. Our output data we need to tell it that our output data needs to be where is it? Our level custom property, uh, new custom property first, and then we say answer, answer, and then it's answer custom property, and then it's output here. Our text is a number, data type, then we create. Then we go back to our screen, we go to our label, editing formula bar, yeah, dot answer. Yeah. This will give us an answer. Yeah. So, but now it says it's 100. It shouldn't be 100. Should be a 500. We have to fix our error there. So, in order for us to fully fix our error, we need to make sure our slider works perfectly. Slider, there it is. Okay. Okay, slider. No, not like that. Slider dot really. I don't know why it's giving me these errors, because it shouldn't be giving me these errors. Uh, okay, let's try again. Slider function. Don't know why it's keep on giving me these errors. Should I go to screen to then click here? Still the same error. File calculator.
Spani,
Yes.
it's almost 5 past. Just a minute.
Oh, just a minute. Because I don't
Yeah,
know why
so
the sliders keep on giving me the same thing. Because I got the value type here, but it's not changing the values. Want to fix that pretty fast. Ah, what value? Wouldn't understand why it's doing this. Because it should be able to move this. It's not moving. Not moving. No, no. I don't know why it's not calculating because the slider is moving. It should take the value of the slider to here, to the component. Mm, maybe you're gonna do this. Text input. Fine.
Well, it's funny. We can pick it up next week.
Yes.
And
Because I don't know
yeah,
what's
so
happening here. It's giving you problems
we'll also go
now.
do our homework.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe next week we'll all help you out and we'll figure it out together.
Yeah, exactly. Because so
Yeah.
working just fine on the app I created. I don't know what happened on this one, but hopefully it will be fixed by the next show. But I
Yeah.
just hope everyone got the
Cool.
idea of how components really work and how they can be applied to applications.
Yep, that's true. So we can wrap it up
Yes,
now
yes.
since we are quite over time. And yeah, thank you to everyone who joined today, who watched and listened to this yet another exciting Power Apps episode. And we hope that tomorrow you can also join us for .NET Fridays. And it would be interesting, trust me. I know the people who will be on the show, so they're really good at what they do. And thank you, Sibani and Someleze, for joining us today again. Well, this is your platform. It's the Power Ninjas platform. I should be actually glad that I'm here. But yeah, so goodbye, guys, and have a lovely evening. Bye.
Bye, everyone.